In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 college football games happening on November 1st, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. South Carolina versus Ole Miss. The Ole Miss Rebels host the South Carolina Gamecocks in Southeastern Conference play at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium on Saturday. Ole Miss has proven its ability to light up the scoreboard, and their offense remains one of the most explosive in the conference. Yet, as mentioned in the total analysis, the defensive side of the ball has been far less convincing. The Rebels have looked sharp against limited or inconsistent offenses, teams like Oklahoma, Kentucky, LSU, Washington State, and Tulane, but those matchups reveal little about how they perform against more dynamic competition. When facing balanced attacks with legitimate playmakers, such as Georgia or Arkansas, Ole Miss surrendered 35 or more points and split those results. That inconsistency underscores how difficult it can be for the Rebels to maintain control in shootouts. South Carolina profiles as the kind of opponent that can challenge this defense. When quarterback Lenora Sellers finds rhythm, the Gamecocks can generate big plays both through the air and on the ground. They can sustain drives, control tempo, and punish defensive lapses. Combine that with an Ole Miss defense that has struggled to finish stops on third down, and the setup favors a competitive, high-possession game. Every drive will matter, and the margin for error on either side will be thin. If this contest unfolds as expected, a fast-paced, back-and-forth duel with long stretches of offensive momentum, then the number attached to South Carolina looks inflated. The Gamecocks have enough balance and confidence to remain within striking distance for 4 quarters, and the outcome could stay tight well into the closing minutes. As our first pick for this matchup, the South Carolina Gamecocks to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Everyone knows what Ole Miss brings offensively. The Rebels move quickly, spread the field, and score in bursts. Their offense is built for tempo and pressure, capable of putting up points on any defense that hesitates. The real question is whether their defense can complement that attack, and the recent track record raises concerns. Before assuming this unit has turned a corner, it is worth examining who they have managed to contain. Oklahoma's offense has been erratic all year. Kentucky plays conservatively and rarely stretches the field. LSU has struggled with consistency since early September and is now without its head coach. Washington State and Tulane, while competent, fall in the mid-tier category. Solid programs, but not ones that should challenge a ranked team defensively. Against true offensive threats, the story changes. Georgia and Arkansas both reached the 35-point mark against the Rebels, and Ole Miss split those 2 outcomes. That pattern suggests that when facing teams that can trade blows, their defense cannot hold the line. South Carolina fits neatly into that mold. When Lenora Sellers is locked in, the Gamecocks can spread the field and attack multiple levels of coverage. Their mix of quick passes and designed runs can stretch Ole Miss thin, exposing the very weaknesses that have cost the Rebels against more balanced opponents. Both offenses are equipped to move the ball efficiently, and neither defense is built to consistently disrupt that flow. All signs point to a game shaped by tempo, rhythm, and explosive plays rather than defensive stops. Each team will find scoring chances, and the scoreboard should move early and often. With both units capable of reaching the end zone from anywhere on the field, this contest carries the profile of a shootout. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Georgia Tech versus NC State. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the North Carolina State Wolfpack will square off Saturday in college football action from Carter-Finley Stadium. At first glance, this line is puzzling. How can a North Carolina State team sitting at 4 wins and 4 losses be within a touchdown at home against an undefeated Georgia Tech squad that has played its way into national relevance? Georgia Tech has been one of the most consistent and complete teams in the country, arguably worthy of a top 5 ranking based on performance alone. Yet the betting market remains skeptical, giving NC State much more respect than the numbers suggest. Yes, it is a rivalry matchup, but even that context does not fully explain the narrow spread. Georgia Tech enters with momentum, having dominated opponents for much of the year. Just 2 weeks ago, the Yellow Jackets were underdogs against Duke but controlled that contest from start to finish, winning by 9 points in a game that never appeared in doubt. Their offense has been balanced and efficient, led by Haynes King, while the defense has complemented that attack by consistently winning at the line of scrimmage. On the surface, there appears to be little reason to doubt them. Still, when something looks too good to be true, it often is, and this number carries that kind of unease. NC State's recent form has been rough. The Wolfpack are coming off a 53-point defeat at the hands of Pitt, a result that exposed flaws on both sides of the ball. The week before that, they were overpowered by Notre Dame, losing 36-7. Considering Notre Dame's ranking and Georgia Tech's even stronger resume, logic alone would suggest a long day ahead for the Pack. Yet the betting line refuses to reflect that expectation. When the market tempts bettors to take an undefeated favorite with ease, it is often a signal that something beneath the surface is influencing the number. This is where rivalry context matters most. Rivalry games ignore form, rankings, and records. Emotions and effort often carry more weight than metrics. NC State enters with little to lose and everything to gain, backed by a home crowd eager for redemption after back-to-back blowouts. The Wolfpack should empty the tank, lean into aggression, and look to spoil their opponent's perfect record. The ingredients for a surprise are there: desperation, environment, and opportunity. As our first pick for this matchup, the NRE State Wolfpacks to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The total here points toward offensive productivity, and that outlook makes sense given the current state of both defenses. Neither unit has consistently shut down opponents, and both teams possess quarterbacks who can move the ball effectively. Georgia Tech's offense under Haynes King has been well-rounded, mixing tempo with versatility. The Yellow Jackets have proven they can score from anywhere on the field, using quick-hitting plays and creative motion to stress defensive structures. NC State, meanwhile, should find chances to attack through the air. C.J. Bailey's arm strength gives the Wolfpack a way to stretch the field, especially if Georgia Tech's secondary overcommits to the run. When these programs met last season, they combined for 59 total points, though most of that scoring came in the final quarter after a low-output start. The rhythm of that game suggests that when defenses tire, both sides have the explosiveness to pile up points quickly. Given the offensive personnel and recent defensive trends, it would not be surprising to see another late surge on the scoreboard. Extended drives early could give way to fireworks as adjustments fade and fatigue sets in. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Oklahoma versus Tennessee. The Oklahoma Sooners and the Tennessee Volunteers will meet Saturday night in college football action at Neyland Stadium. Oklahoma opened the season with promise, winning its first 5 games, but momentum has slipped away after 2 losses in the last 3 outings. Now the Sooners travel to Knoxville for a primetime matchup in one of the most challenging atmospheres in the country. Tennessee, on the other hand, responded to its setback at Alabama with a convincing performance last week at Kentucky, rolling to a 56-point showing and over 500 yards of total offense in a 22-point victory. The two programs met last season in Norman, where Tennessee came away with a 25-15 win. The final score did not tell the full story, as the Volunteers led 22-3 entering the fourth quarter before penalties extended a pair of Oklahoma drives when the result was already decided. Oklahoma's defensive profile looks elite on paper. The Sooners rank first nationally in yards per play allowed, 5th in scoring defense, 6th in total defense, and 10th in third down conversion rate allowed. Since week 5, they lead the country in havoc rate, sit 2nd in standard downs predicted points added, 13th in predicted points added per play, and 28th in points allowed per quality drive. Yet context matters. Until their matchup with Ole Miss last week, Oklahoma had not faced a top 50 offense all season. The Rebels were the first opponent to eclipse 400 total yards, and the first to score more than 24 points against the Sooners, raising questions about how this defense performs against legitimate offensive competition. The test intensifies this week. Tennessee brings an attack that ranks among the best in the nation, both statistically and stylistically. Over the past 5 weeks, the Volunteers have averaged 36 points per game, ranking 17th in predicted points added per play and 22nd in points scored per quality drive. They also rank third nationally in both red zone trips and red zone touchdowns, a strength that could exploit an Oklahoma defense that allowed Ole Miss to score on every red zone possession a week ago. Playing under the lights at Neyland Stadium only heightens the challenge, as few venues match its intensity and volume on a Saturday night. Offensively, Oklahoma's inconsistencies have been just as concerning. The Sooners have failed to establish a reliable run game, ranking near the bottom of the nation in rushing efficiency. Quarterback John Mateer, still working his way back from surgery, has struggled to regain his early season sharpness. Over the past 4 games, Oklahoma ranks 125th in passing downs predicted points added, an indicator of both limited explosiveness and difficulty sustaining drives. That weakness compounds the pressure against a Tennessee defense that thrives on momentum and crowd noise at home. This will mark Oklahoma's 3rd true road game of the season, but their first in a primetime slot against an offense capable of capitalizing on mistakes. Their previous trips, at Temple and South Carolina, both came at noon and lacked the energy that Neyland will bring. The Sooners' recent form reflects a team still searching for rhythm, while the Volunteers appear to be surging at the right time. Tennessee enters as one of the nation's most potent offenses, ranking 4th in total offense and 2nd in scoring. For an Oklahoma team struggling on both sides of the ball, this environment and opponent create a steep hill to climb. The Volunteers have won 26 consecutive home games as a favorite, and history suggests they are well equipped to continue that streak under the lights in Knoxville. As our first pick for this matchup, the Tennessee Volunteers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Tennessee's offense has been among the most explosive in the country, averaging nearly 46 points per game. Quarterback Joey Aguilar has found his rhythm leading a balanced attack that moves quickly and stretches defenses from sideline to sideline. Oklahoma has the personnel to respond, featuring playmakers like Xavier Robinson and Isaiah Sategna, who can challenge Tennessee's secondary, which remains the weakest part of its defense. The Sooners' defense still rates highly in most categories, but facing an up-tempo Tennessee team on the road is a different challenge than anything they have seen recently. The pace of play should create plenty of possessions for both sides. Oklahoma's offense, while inconsistent, has shown flashes of explosiveness in space, and that capability could keep drives alive long enough to generate points. Tennessee's defense, meanwhile, has given up over 30 points per game and often allows opponents to sustain momentum once they find a rhythm. With both offenses capable of big plays and neither defense positioned to dominate for 4 quarters, the game has the look of a high-scoring affair. This matchup favors pace, possession volume, and opportunities for quick strikes. Each side has the firepower to exploit mismatches, and the energy of Neyland Stadium should only amplify that tempo. As our scon pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. USC versus Nebraska. This game may not have the national spotlight that others do, but make no mistake, Saturday's matchup between the USC Trojans and the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Lincoln carries major postseason stakes. For both programs, it functions as a de facto college football playoff elimination game. USC enters with the stronger resume and the deeper talent pool, yet the situation is far from straightforward. The Trojans, under Lincoln Riley, have struggled away from home for 2 seasons running, particularly when venturing east of the Rockies. Earlier this year, USC fell at Illinois as a road favorite of nearly a touchdown, a result that extended a troubling pattern. Since joining the Big Ten, the Trojans have yet to cover the spread as a road favorite in the Eastern or Central time zones. That trend should not be ignored, especially heading into a primetime contest inside one of the most intimidating home environments in college football. Complicating matters further, USC will be without both of its top running backs and its starting left tackle, weakening what should have been a clear advantage on the ground. The passing game remains elite. USC ranks 5th nationally in passing success rate and 4th in expected points added per pass, driven by precision and explosive play design. However, Nebraska's defense is built to counter that strength. The Cornhuskers rank inside the top 20 nationally in both passing success rate allowed and expected points added per pass, relying on disciplined coverage and a physical secondary that limits big plays. That matchup alone could shape the tone of the game, as USC's best asset meets Nebraska's defensive backbone. Defensively, Defensively, the Trojans remain an enigma. Coordinator D'Anton Lynn deserves credit for reshaping the unit's structure, but vulnerabilities persist in key areas. USC ranks 117th in rushing success rate allowed and 85th in early downs expected points added, numbers that signal issues with gap integrity and tackling efficiency. Those weaknesses align perfectly with Nebraska's strengths. The Cornhuskers rank inside the top 20 in rushing success rate and sit 24th in quality drives created. Quarterback Dylan Raiola and the offense have grown more comfortable each week, and against a defense that sits 76th nationally in quality drives allowed, they should have opportunities to sustain possessions and find points. From a broader view, USC still boasts superior talent, but results away from home tell a different story. The Trojans are just 2 wins and 11 losses against the spread in their last 13 road games as favorites, underscoring how their performance dips outside Los Angeles. Nebraska, meanwhile, continues to build a strong foundation under its current staff. The Cornhuskers' defense ranks 11th nationally in total defense and 2nd in passing defense, metrics that back up what the film shows: a unit that hits hard, rallies to the ball, and rarely surrenders easy yards. Offensively, Nebraska plays with tempo and confidence, and the team's overall balance has helped it stay competitive in every environment. This will also be one of the most charged atmospheres USC has faced all season. Nebraska will wear its traditional black uniforms, and the crowd at Memorial Stadium will be at full voice for this opportunity. All factors point toward a game defined by energy, emotion, and situational execution. As our first pick for this matchup, the Nebraska Cornhuskers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. As I said earlier, USC's offense has been one of the most productive and efficient units in the nation. The Trojans rank among the top 5 in both passing success rate allowed and points per drive, and they have proven capable of lighting up defenses with sound reputations, including Michigan and Notre Dame. Nebraska's secondary will be tested in ways it has not yet experienced this season, as few opponents possess USC's combination of quarterback accuracy and receiver depth. The Trojans' ability to spread the field and stretch coverages horizontally should force the Cornhuskers into difficult adjustments over time. Nebraska, however, is not without offensive firepower. This is a top 20 unit in efficiency, and its offensive line continues to generate consistent push in the run game. USC's defense, though improved, has not been dominant in Big Ten play and has struggled to contain methodical offenses that sustain drives. Nebraska's ground-heavy approach could open the passing lanes for Raiola, allowing the Cornhuskers to exploit mismatches downfield and maintain scoring pressure. The statistical and stylistic balance between these teams suggests a game that will see both offenses find success. USC's passing attack is designed to create explosive plays, while Nebraska's offense relies on consistent movement and red zone execution. The Cornhuskers have the personnel to reach the high 20s in scoring, and given USC's pace and aggressiveness, the game could remain open and fluid into the final possessions. Both defenses face difficult assignments, and the offensive efficiency on each side points toward a result that exceeds expectations for total scoring. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Cincinnati versus Utah. The primetime spotlight in the Big 12 shifts to Salt Lake City, where the Cincinnati Bearcats face the Utah Utes in one of the most anticipated matchups of the weekend. College game day will be on site, ensuring an electric atmosphere inside Rice-Eccles Stadium after a full day of build-up. Both programs enter this game with high stakes attached. Cincinnati sits at 5 wins and 0 losses in conference play, controlling its own path toward a Big 12 title shot, while Utah, at 3 wins and 2 losses, cannot afford another setback if it hopes to remain in contention. The main storyline leading into kickoff surrounds Utah quarterback Devin Dampier, whose status remains uncertain. The Utes have been tight-lipped about his condition, continuing to defy the league's new injury transparency policy, which only adds another layer of intrigue to this matchup. Whether Dampier plays or not, the Utes will lean on their defense, one of the top 10 units in the country, to slow down a Cincinnati offense that has been efficient and creative all year. This matchup represents a classic strength-on-strength clash. Cincinnati's offense, built around balance and tempo, thrives on establishing the run and then striking deep downfield when defenses load the box. It's an attack designed to dictate terms and keep opponents off balance, but Utah's defense is disciplined, physical, and built to contain exactly that style of offense. The Utes limit explosive plays and force opponents to sustain long drives, rarely giving up big chunks of yardage. On the other side, Utah's offensive identity is clear. They prefer to control the line of scrimmage, run the football, and use quick, short throws to move the chains. Nearly all of their passing game is built within 5 yards of the line or on throws to the perimeter, an approach that suits their personnel but can become predictable against a well-prepared defense. For Cincinnati, this defensive challenge is as much mental as physical. The Bearcats will need to stay disciplined in pursuit and avoid overcommitting, focusing attention on containing the edges and disrupting Utah's short pass rhythm. The question that will ultimately shape the game is whether Cincinnati can sustain offensive production against an elite unit on the road in a raucous setting. Utah's defense can frustrate even the most balanced attacks, but Cincinnati has shown the ability to adapt quickly and maintain composure in difficult environments. Even with those challenges, this version of Cincinnati appears battle-tested and resilient. Head coach Scott Satterfield's squad has shown poise under pressure, and the Bearcats' early season success has not been a fluke. This will be one of the toughest environments they have faced all year, yet the structure of their offense and the physicality of their defense suggest they can stay competitive deep into the game. As our first pick for this matchup, the Cincinnati Bearcats to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. This matchup brings together two of the most balanced units in the Big 12. Utah's defense remains one of the nation's best, while Cincinnati's offense has quietly become one of the most efficient in college football. The Bearcats have made a habit of fast starts, often setting the tone early by controlling possession and scoring in the opening quarter. Their offensive rhythm stems from versatility, the ability to pound the ball between the tackles before shifting to a vertical passing game that tests secondaries downfield. For Utah, the uncertainty at quarterback adds an element of mystery, but the offensive identity will not change much regardless of who starts. The Utes rely heavily on the run game, and with their offensive line paving the way for Wayshawn Parker and Bert Ficklin, they can generate sustained drives even without elite quarterback play. Their offensive scheme emphasizes efficiency over explosiveness, using a mix of power running and misdirection to wear opponents down. Cincinnati's defense has been steady, but Utah's rushing attack poses a challenge few teams have matched. The Utes average over 475 total yards per game, while the Bearcats sit near 40 points per contest behind quarterback Brendan Sorsby's poised, turnover-free leadership. Both teams have proven they can finish drives and generate big plays, and both have the kind of offensive structure that can exploit lapses in coverage or missed tackles. There are a few potential outcomes here. Utah could lean on its home field advantage, physicality, and depth to overwhelm Cincinnati in the same way it dominated Colorado a week ago, producing a comfortable margin in the high 30s range. Alternatively, and perhaps more likely, both offenses could sustain success throughout, creating a seesaw game where neither defense completely dictates the tempo. A 31-28 outcome feels plausible given the playmakers and execution on both sides. With two efficient offenses, proven red zone production, and plenty of explosive potential, this matchup leans toward an open back and forth rhythm. The offensive talent outweighs the defensive strengths here, and there are simply more pathways to a high-scoring game than to a low one. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total picked. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.